Hi everyone, welcome back. In the last class, we had discussed about the basics of lasers and basic definitions also, like population inversion, metastable state. So steps involved in the laser, types of radiation, stimulated absorption, stimulated emission, spontaneous emission. Like basics we had discussed in the last class. In this class, I covered lasing action, what are the main requirements for the laser, and about the types of lasers. Then coming to the laser system. A laser system consists of three basic parts. An active medium, first one is the active medium. Pumping mechanism, energy source, optical cavity. Third thing is optical cavity. These are the three basic parts in the laser transition. Active medium, where the total laser transition is occurred, is called as active medium. Energy source, nothing but pumping source, used to excite the atoms from ground state to the various energy states. Optical cavity is give the optical feedback. So before going to discuss about in detail, coming to the active medium, I will show you one diagram. This is the laser transition total. So this is the laser medium called as active medium. To excite the particles from ground state to various excited state, we are using pumping mechanisms. To give the optical feedback, we are using two mirrors here. This blue color represents the two mirrors here. There is a rear mirror, 100% reflected. One is partially reflected, 99% is reflected, 95% is coated. This is used as a output laser. This used as output one. And these are total basic requirements or basic parts in the laser transition. One is the laser medium or active medium, and second thing is pumping mechanism or source of energy, and third thing is to give the optical feedback, optical resonator. Usually we are using two mirrors as a optical cavity, rear mirror and front mirror. One is fully polished or one more is partially polished. It used as a output one, output to give the output laser we are using. So coming to the active medium, with a suitable set of energy levels to support laser action. For example, in the ruby laser, one type of laser, it is called as a solid state laser or first invented laser by the T.H. Marmin. So in the ruby laser, chromium particles are used, active particles. Only chromium particles are responsible for the laser transition. Ruby crystal having aluminum particles and chromium 0.05% of chromium particles. But chromium particles are only responsible for the laser transition. That's why we are calling as ruby crystal rod is the active medium. In that, chromium particles are active particles. So energy source, use nothing but pumping source. Already we discussed about that pumping mechanisms to achieve the population inversion. Why we are using pumping mechanisms? To achieve the population inversion, or in order to establish population inversion, we are using source of energy, nothing but pumping mechanisms. In every type of laser, we are using different type of pumping mechanisms. Third one, optical cavity or resonator, to introduce optical feedback and so maintain the gain of the system, overcoming or losses. Depending on the type of the system, optical feedback is provided. Usually we are using two mirrors only, polished, two ends we polish it. One is 100% coated, one is 99% or 95% coated. These are used as optical cavity or resonator. These are the three basic parts involved in the laser transition. One is the active medium, second one is the energy source, and third one is the optical cavity or resonator. Now coming to the types of lasers. So we have three types of lasers here. One is the types of lasers. solid state laser, solid state lasers. Second thing is liquid lasers. Third one is gas lasers. We have three types of lasers. One is solid state laser, a liquid laser, and gaseous lasers. Coming to the solid state laser, example for solid state laser is ruby laser. Ruby laser is the example for solid state laser. Liquid laser or gaseous laser. Then all not liquid, sorry, it is semiconductor laser. Coming to the types of lasers, three types of lasers we have. One is a solid state laser, semiconductor laser, and gaseous laser. Solid example for solid state laser is ruby laser, and gaseous laser is helium neon laser. Helium neon laser. And these are the types of lasers. Then coming to the coming in detail about the types of lasers. Coming to the, we are now in this class we are discussing about only ruby laser. Coming to the ruby laser. Ruby laser is the first type of laser demonstrated in the year of 1960 by T.H. Marvin. So ruby laser is a solid state laser. Already we discussed about solid state laser. Is the example for solid state laser is ruby laser. It is pulsed 3-level pumping scheme. That means only 3 energy levels are presenting. In that active medium, the active medium is ruby rod, but active particles are only chromium 3+ ions. So some of the aluminum atoms are replaced by 0.05% of chromium atoms. That's why only chromium particles are responsible here. Lasing action takes place in chromium energy levels. So energy sources, the pumping of ions is through optical pumping using xenon flash lamp. So these are the main parts involved in the ruby laser. First you have to remember about the active medium. After that, active particles. After that, where the total lasing action takes place, or which type of energy source is used to excite the particles from lower energy states to higher energy states. Coming to the diagram, first when you see the diagram, it is clearly understand. And this red color one is called as ruby rod. This red color, which is in red color, it is called as ruby rod. This represents ruby rod. So ruby rod is kept in between the xenon flash lamp, helical xenon flash tube, which is connected to the power supply or high capacitor bank. So these two ends of the ruby crystal are silvered to give the optical feedback. What we are doing here, two ends of the ruby crystals are silvered. So one end is 100% reflective mirror, and second one is 95% reflective mirror. Then which is 95% reflected, it is acted as a output one. So this is highly intensive flash lamp. This is using as a pumping source. We are using as pumping source or source of energy. And this is about the construction of ruby laser. In the construction, what we are taken, ruby crystal. What are the particles in the ruby crystal? Al2O3, aluminum oxide particles are presenting, ions are presenting in the ruby crystal. For that we are adding chromium 3+ ions or chromium oxide particles we are adding in the percentage of 0.05. So this totally in pink color. Coming to the construction, ruby laser consisting of cylindrical shaped ruby crystal rod. One of the end faces is highly silvered and other face is partially silvered, so that it transmits 10 to 25% of incident light and reflects the rest. Coming to the second point, the ruby crystal is placed along the axis of helical xenon or krypton flash lamp of high intensity. This is surrounded by the reflector. The ruby rod is protected from the heat by enclosing in a hollow tube through which is cold water is circulated. So while getting the laser, all the operators are very heated. To protect from the heat, these total operators we are keeping in tube. So which tube? In that cold water is circulated through the tube. Cold water is circulated to cool down the operators. Then we are using liquid nitrogen. Sometimes we are using liquid nitrogen also. Instead of water, we are using liquid nitrogen also. So total operators we are keeping in a vacuum. Nothing but we are using here tube. In the tube, cold water or liquid nitrogen is circulated to cool down the operators. Because of while getting the laser, all the operators are very heated. To protect the operators, total operation we are keeping in a tube. We are operated in a tube. So that the ruby rod is protected from the heat by enclosing it in a hollow tube through which cold water is circulated. The ends of the flash lamp are connected to a pulsed high voltage source so that the lamp gives flash of an intense light. This is about the construction part. So about the introduction of the ruby laser. Ruby laser is invented by the T.H. Marmin in 1960. There is a first invented laser. It is called as a solid state laser. 3-level pumping scheme. Active medium is ruby crystal or ruby rod. Then in that Al2O3 aluminum oxide particles are present. For that we are adding chromium in the percent of 0.05. Lasing action takes place or for the lasing action, what are the particles are responsible? Only chromium particles. And total laser transition takes place within the chromium energy levels. Energy source xenon flash tube. Helical xenon flash tube is used as a optical pumping, mean nothing but pumping source. And this schematic diagram for the ruby laser. Now coming to the working. So the chromium ions are responsible for the stimulated emission of radiation, whereas aluminum and oxygen ions are passive, sustaining the lasing action. So the chromium ions observe here. See, when you see the energy level diagram, it clearly visible. This is the ground state. Ground state we are calling as E1. When the energy is released by when the capacitor bank is on or where the power supply is on, so energy is circulated in the xenon flash tube. From the energy, chromium particles in the ground state, chromium ions are observing some energy, observing only green from the white light. Only green and blue absorption is observed by the chromium particles and excited to the 4F1 and 4F2 energy levels. When you see the energy level diagram, ground state chromium particles, in the chromium energy level, chromium particles are observing only green and blue absorption. From the white lamp, only green and blue absorption is observed by the particles, chromium particles, and excited to 4F1 and 4F2 energy levels. This is very much close to each other. That's why we are calling as only one energy level. This is 3-level scheme. This is the E3 and this is E2 and this is E1. Already we discussed it. Three energy level scheme. E1 is a ground state energy level. E2 is usually is metastable state. E3 nothing but blue and green absorption. Both are very much close to each other. So we call as only one energy level, 4F1 and 4F2. So chromium particles observe 5500 angstrom. Nothing but that is green absorption, and 4000 angstrom wavelength is observed by the chromium particles and excited to the higher energy states 4F1 and 4F2. After that, by interacting with the aluminum particles, some of the energy lost by the chromium particles. When the ions are lost some energy, that de-excited to the metastable state. or E2 state. In the de-excitation, no energy is released. Already they lose some energy and de-excited to the ground state, metastable state by interacting with the aluminum particles. So that's why we are calling as non-radiative transition in between 4F1 and F2 to E2. 4F1, F2 to E2. We are calling that transition we are calling as non-radiative transition because of already chromium particles lose some energy and de-excited to the metastable state. So no energy is released in the process. That's why we are calling as non-radiative transition. So in the metastable state, what is metastable state? Where the atoms are spending maximum time or where the ions are spending maximum time, that energy level we are calling as metastable state. So here the de-excited particles are spending maximum time. The average time is 10 power minus 3 seconds. Due to spending of maximum time, atom particles goes on increasing, continuously goes on increasing. By observing energy by the chromium particles in the ground state, they are continuously excited to the 4F1 and F2 states. So here chromium particles goes on decreasing. In the ground state, goes on decreasing. In the metastable state, by spending maximum time by the particles, then continuously goes on increasing. At a particular instant, what we are going to observe? The number of ions in the metastable state is greater than to the lower energy state E1. Means we achieved the population inversion in between these two. Population inversion we achieved in E2 to E1. That's why in at the time of pumping mechanisms or metastable state, we have clearly explained to achieve the population inversion, metastable state and pumping mechanisms are compulsory. So using the pumping mechanisms, we are sending particles from ground state to the excited state. Due to the metastable state, we are particles are spending maximum time in the metastable state. So here continuously goes on increasing, here continuously goes on decreasing. Due to that, we achieved the population inversion in between these two. After achievement of population inversion, final thing is getting the laser. Laser transition is occurred in between E2 and E1 by the stimulated emission process. Here how much the wavelength is produced here? 6943 angstroms of wavelength. 6943 angstroms of wavelength is emitted in this radiation. So from the metastable state to laser transition in between E2 and E1, how much the wavelength is produced here? 6943 angstroms of wavelength or 694.3 nanometers. Nothing but 10 power minus 9 meters. Here 10 power minus 10 meters. Whatever you call. Don't worry. So this is about the ruby laser. We have some drawbacks and advantages of ruby laser here. We are discussing in the next slide. Coming to the applications. Ruby laser is used in distance measurement using pulse echo technique. So ruby laser is used to create holograms. I think all of you know about the holograms. To create the holograms, this type of laser, ruby laser, is used. Large objects such as aircraft tiles to look for weakness in the lining, and used for trimming resistors and integrated circuits. I think all of you know about the resistors and integrated small objects. Integrated something nothing but IC circuits. So resistors, to trimming the resistors or integrated circuits, we are using only this type of laser, ruby laser. So ruby laser were used mainly in research. One of the main industrial uses to drilling the holes. So to drill the holes in a iron rods, we are using ruby laser. So thus that much intense will produce in the laser. Imagine how much the intense will produce in the from the laser. So this type of ruby laser is used to produce the one of the industrial application. To cut the iron rods or to drill the holes, we are using lasers only. So which type of laser is used to drill the holes here? Ruby laser, pulsed laser. This is called as pulsed laser. So use it in military as a target destinators and range finders to find the range in the military, one of the military application. So used in research applications such as plasma production and forensic spectroscopy. We are using this type of laser only. And one more thing, to remove the tattoos. Okay, to remove the tattoos from the bodies, and to remove the hair also from the bodies, unwanted hairs, we are using laser treatment. Nothing but we are using, in that laser treatment we are using this type of laser only, ruby laser. So remember the applications: to measure the bulk distance measurement, to create the holograms, to target destinations, to trim the integrated circuits and resistors, and to drill the holes in the iron rods, and to remove the tattoos and hair removal, unwanted hairs. We are using this type of laser. We have drawbacks also about the ruby laser, and this is a mainly 3-level scheme, 3-level pumping scheme. Generally requires very high pumping power. So to send the particles from ground state to the higher energy state, high pumping power is required. That is the main drawback. Efficiency also very less. Because of out of 7 colors are only green and blue absorption. Blue components of the incident light are absorbed, and the remaining components are left unused. That's why efficiency is very less. So the laser output is not continuous. One of the major important factor, the laser output is not continuous. It is a pulsed mode. Now, these are the main drawbacks of ruby laser. Ruby laser is a 3-level pumping source. That's why high pumping power is required. One of the drawback. Efficiency also very less, because of out of all the colors only green and blue absorption is absorbed by the particles, and using that only laser transition will be occurred. Remaining are unused. The laser output is not continuous. This is a pulsed mode. These are the main drawbacks. These are the applications. Nothing but uses only. How much the wavelength is produced here? 6943 angstroms. And this is about the ruby laser. Before going to discuss about the helium neon laser, so once again I recall the ruby laser. Ruby laser is a pulsed laser. First invented laser also. It is a solid state laser and 3-level scheme. That is the main drawback, 3-level scheme. High pumping mechanisms are required. Active medium is ruby crystal. Chromium particles are active particles. Lasing action takes place in the chromium energy levels only. Energy source is xenon flash tube. This is about ruby laser. I hope you understand. Thank you. See you in the next class.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.